Hi everyone. Next topics for discussion is Guthrie learning theory. Edwin Ray Guthrie, born on 1986 January 9, and he lived up to April 23, 1969, and he was a behavioralist behavioral psychologist who began his career as mathematics teacher and a philosopher. However, he became psychologist at the age of 33. He spent most of his career at the University of Washington, where he became full professor and then emeritus professor in psychology. Guthrie is best known for his theory that all learning is based on the stimulus response association. This was variously described as one trial theory, non reinforcement, and contiguity learning. Guthrie did a collaborative study with George P. Horton, which involved the stereotyped behavior of the cats in the puzzle box. Horton set up the trials and supervised this photography, while Guthrie took notes in shorthand. Guthrie Horton experiment illustrated an associative theory of learning. They used glass panel box which allowed them to photograph the cat's movements. Box was constructed so that the cat could open the door by touching the post. By touching this post, this door will open. They made a box like this to observe the behavior of the cat. Cat took approximately 15 minutes to touch the post. Second time, the cat had the tendency to duplicate its first behavior. The photograph showed that cats repeated the same sequence of movements associated with their previous escape from the box. This showed an example of stereotyped behavior. The Guthrie and Horton experiment allows us to assume that an animal learns an association between a stimulus and behavioral act after only one experience. Guthrie and Smith contiguity theory of learning. Guthrie believed that learning takes place through the association and conditioning. One is often enough to establish connection rather than repeated stimulus and response pairings. Guthrie theory went against those of the Thorndike's classical conditioning and Skinner's operant conditioning. Oh, Thorndike's experiment is like he also kept the cat under the box and record the data how much time the cat took first time to open this door to put the leg on that lever. Accidentally cat put its leg on the lever and came out. Reward was the food to come out of this box. And second time again he put the cat into the box and recorded the time, how much time it has taken. His belief was that second time also it took a time he didn't have an idea so that putting on leg on this will open the door. It will not understand. His belief was like that. After this, Thorndike's experiment, Skinner's experiment used a rat as a subject here. Here, this is a lever. Voice will come here. Lights will be on at the same time. At that time, the rat should put its leg on this lever, and the food will be dropped as a reward into the box. And here, punishment of electric shock is also there. If it try to escape, if it puts leg on this electric shock generator, punishment is electric shock will be given to this rat. This is a B.F. Skinner's operant conditioning box or operant chamber it is called. But Guthrie's instance is that their desire for result of immediate practical applications led to their being wrong, he said. Guthrie's learning theory with the Smith is called one trial learning. Guthrie and Smith theory states that all learning is done within single exposure to the situation. Multiple stimuli and response is not required. That is his theory. There are three principles of this theory: principle of association, principle of post-traumatic, principle of response probability. Principle of association says that any stimulus that accompanies a behavior or immediately precedes it by less than half a second becomes the cue for that specific behavior. This is the principle of association. Principle of post-traumatic. Theory states that stimulus, when followed by more than two responses, only becomes associated with the response that is closest to the stimulus. Immediately after stimulus, which response comes? First response, that is a response to that stimulus. There is a principle of post-remedy. Post-remedy means after that stimulus. Principle of response probability states that chance of particular response occurring at a specified time relates to size of the stimulus for that response. Occurring at specified time relates to the size of the stimulus for that response. Present at a specified time. The more cues for the stimulus, higher the chance of desired responses. Guthrie's theory of learning in education. How it is applied in education. Guthrie was interested in application of psychology and his learning theories in the education. In this book, Educational Psychology, he states the ultimate test of the theory of learning is its influence on all-round growth of young people when they applied in the classroom. He hypothesized that pairing a stimulus and response could result in learning. Takes place through the association and conditioning, and one pairing is often enough to establish a connection rather than repeated stimulus response pairing as in B.F. Skinner and Thorndike's experiments. These association and conditionist theories are basis of the Guthrie's contiguity theory of learning. Learning by surrounding situations, by the environment, is called contiguity theory. Guthrie acknowledged the use of the reinforcement and rewards. Yeah, he acknowledged the reinforcement or the reward will acts as a stimulus to the subject, or like a rat or a cat, to come out of that box, but he did not deem them as necessary for the learning. He asserts that students do not learn from what the teacher does, what he speak on the stage, what he reads on the stage, but from what they do themselves. That by nowadays, the project method of teaching to the students is famous now, as in the CBSE syllabus and the international ICSE syllabus, they are teaching the students using the projects. They are involving the students in the project so that they can understand what they are teaching. In other words, students do not learn something merely by hearing or reading it, rather the information must elicit an active response in our learner. Some teachers are very good at teaching. All the students 100% in the class will understand it because they elicit some curiosity in the children about the study, about that topic. So there will be active response from the children. They are curious about that subject. Then they start getting interest in that subject and start studying themselves, collecting information about that. He believed that ideal school environment is the one that permits freedom of responsible action. Freedom of responsible action means freedom should be there, means it's not about that behavior, it is about the studies. For example, if one lesson is there, in that lesson story was there, that is, grandma is telling story to the little boy who is going to school, who was in first standard, right? Then the at the end of the chapter question is, who is telling story at your home? If this question is asked, children will answer, my mother will tell the story, because nowadays in cities parents are living with the children and grandparents are living at the villages at their own places. So if grandmother is not living with the children, how can she tell the stories? Now mother or the father is telling the stories, so child will answer, my mother is telling story at the bedtime. Now they will mark it as a wrong answer in some schools, right? Freedom of responsible action is not there in those schools. Freedom of answering their own answers should be there. They should appreciate that. Okay, that is told by Guthrie's theory. He advocated for the environment that does not repress the individual differences, but rather appreciate them and allow students as much self-direction as possible. Yeah, let them do their works by themselves. Just guide them. Appreciate when they do their homework by themselves, do the actions by themselves. It should be appreciated. It should not be repressed. This is advocated by Guthrie's theory. Application of Guthrie's theories have carried on a present education practices. Long back he made this theory, but nowadays in present education systems also it is getting implemented. The education psychology he asserted that Effective study skills included the clear goal. Clear goal should be there for the students. Yeah, whether they want to go for IIT, selected in the IIT, or they want to do engineering or medical, they want to become lawyer or actor, actress, dancer, singer. Goal should be clear. Mastery of the fundamentals. In which field they want to go, they should be master of the fundamentals. They should be taught in the at the school primary level only. Knowledge of learning phenomena. How to learn is also a knowledge, concentration, and practice. In every aspect, whether it's a dance or a sports or a studies, everywhere concentration is a must required. And the practice, how much talented you might be, but practice is a mainly required in the education, whether it is a football or a expert in mathematics, they have to practice. If they keep on practicing, how much intelligent or talented they may be, practice is a must. Although he believed in one trial learning, Guthrie valued practice in the classroom. Practice means repeatedly doing, repeatedly learning the same thing is the practice, right? The purpose of practice is to ensure that students continue to relearn the material because of ununiqueness of each learning experience. How? The uniqueness of each learning experience means in Montessori classes, we start teaching children by giving sandpapers to touch this A. We teach them how to touch the A, right? Sandpapers will give them the um, feeling of touch. They are very good at sense of touch at this age, at the age of 2.5 years. So they learn it immediately by touching A on the sandpapers. And next, we show them the picture with the A for apple with the picture and say this is the A. And next step, we give them a letter with apple in their hands. Everyone give them apple, say them apple. It is practical teaching. One more step, third way of teaching. Every experiment they are learning, it is A only. Next, what we'll do? One day we make A for apple day. They have to wear apple model as a dress and fancy dress and come to the school. They'll come to know that this is apple, this is A for apple. We are teaching repeatedly A only, but learning experience every time is different. This is told by Guthrie. Thank you. End of this discussion. Thank you. Please subscribe my channel if you like the video.